Here we're going to create a get method for a hash table. So first things first, go ahead and set up our get method. This is going to take in a key as an argument. And that key, the first step is we're going to have to hash it. So here it says hash the key using our hash function. All right. So this is our hash function we built in a previous video. So what we're going to do is we're going to store in a variable hashed key and call that method this hash and then pass in that key. All right. So by passing this key into this hash function, it will generate a hashed key. And that hash key is the location within the array, or in other words, this table where we're checking for to see if to see if the data exists. All right, so now that we have that done, let's go ahead and move on. So if the index of hash key has a length greater than or equal to 1, okay, so that we're going to do if this table, here, let me expand that here. All right, so if this table hashed key dot length is greater than or equal to 1, then that either means we have just one single data in the table that's a non-collision, or if it's more than one, then that means that there's a collision involved, so it's going to be more than one array within the outer array. Okay, but in either case, if we're going to move on inside this block of code if either one is true. All right, so if that's the case, then we're going to make a loop, and I'm going to do a for loop for let I equals 0, so long as I is less than this dot table hashed key and the index of whatever the current index is during the loop, and then each iteration we're going to increment the I. All right, so let's see what we get for now. If I do, let me do console log. Let's see here. What should I do here? Yeah, okay. Yeah, let me do this. No, you know what? We'll save that for later. We'll do the testing later. All right, so now that we're looping through the list or through the hash table, what we're checking for. So the next step is we're going to check if the argument key is equal to the current loop item's key, then return the item. So we're going to do if key, this key here, is equal to this table hashed key I, and then we're gonna do, was it 0? Yes, 0, because 0 index would be, remember, because we're storing the array, when we pushed in the values or an array into this table here, we pushed in the key and value into the array. So if I did index 0, then that would give me the key. If I did index of 1, then that would give me the value. All right. So for example, so if I did index of 1, then I'm seeking to get this here, the amount of items of grapes, for example. Or if it was 6, is the number of items of bananas that I have. But the key of index of 0, then I'm referring to simply this here, what's like the name of the item, which is grapes, bananas, kiwis, and so on. All right, so what I want is this here. I want the first the key value of this and see if it matches the key that we passed into this get method here to see if they match. So if that is the case, then we're going to return this dot table hashed key and index. All right, in this case, we're not adding this extra array here or anything more. We want to return the entire array, meaning I want to return both the key and the value. So let me once we do the testing, I'll show you exactly based off the output that we get to further explain, and maybe it'll make more sense to you. All right, so at this point, if we end up reaching this point here after the if statement, then that means we never ended up finding this key that was passed in the get method inside the table. In other words, it didn't exist. So in that case, we're just going to return false, meaning it was never found. All right, so that's the get method. So now you see here I set 4 items: grapes, bananas, kiwis, and pineapples. And if I go ahead and run this code, let's go ahead and see what we get here. So we see we get a hash table. We get our hash table. All right, and we have inside our table, we're making use of a total of 3 slots. All right, the first slot, which is at index 0, passes in the grapes. The next slot passes in the bananas, and then this index of 2, that slot has a collision because you see it has more than one item, so it has the kiwis and the pineapples. All right, this is considered the collision because we have more than one array within it. All right, so that is so now that we see this is the structure based off what we're setting here for all the 4 items. Let's go ahead and use our get method. All right, so I know that. Let's go ahead and test for the grapes. All right, so if I enter grapes, let's do over here, and I do ht get, and let's do grapes. Okay, why was that false? Key I, if key is equivalent to this table, hashed key I, then return this table hash key I. Okay, yeah, I see the mistake here. I forgot to, for the for loop, we're checking the condition is so long as I is less than this table hash key I, and then dot, oh no, actually it's dot length. It's not I, it's like this right here. So that was a little mistake there. So the condition is we're gonna loop so long as I is less than this table hash key length. Okay, the length of it. All right, so that was the mistake there. I'm gonna refresh this page. Let's go here, refresh. All right, so go back. I'm gonna run the code. All right, everything else continues the same. All right, you see 3 slots continue to be are made use of. So now we're gonna do ht get, and if I do grapes here, okay, you see it not only returns a key or the grapes, but it also returns the entire array, which is the key and value. So it gives me the grapes and how many items I have for it, 4. And you can see here, that's what I did when I set it. I did set grapes and a total of 4 items of it. So what if I did, we also know we have bananas, so let's go ahead and check bananas. Now if I did that, you see it returns an array with the bananas and the number of items I have for it, which is 6. All right, now we know that kiwis and pineapples, that involved a collision, right? Because if I go here to the hash table, remember index or slot number 2, index 2 for our table, we see we have 2 arrays within it, which is the kiwis and pineapples. So let's go ahead and check that out. If we do just kiwis, let's do ht_get and then kiwis, and you see it was able to filter out the pineapples that, or it was able to not have to, it didn't show us the pineapples. All right, it was able to go through this array here and pull out the one with the kiwis and give us the key and value of it. All right, so there's that. All right, so now we have a functional but let's go, actually, you know what, let's go ahead and make sure that that if we didn't pass in anything that exists here, that we do get that false return to us. So we know that we don't have any apples here that we placed inside it, right? So let's go ahead and make sure we get that false. So we do ht_get and then do apples, and you see false. All right, so we have a functional get method for a hashed table, and that is it for now. I'll see you in another lecture.